Tonight, tensions still running high in the NYPD and also the relationship between them and City Hall. And we specifically talk about one police plaza. PBA President Pat Lynch insisting on taking a bite out of Blasio here. Are cops really on board with the rift here, or do they really just want to get back to work? And we will head to Westchester, where county officials have some explaining to do. Housing monitors, they want to know why plans here for new units don't include affordable housing. Journal News reporter David McKay Wilson, he's been following this story from the very beginning. He joins us tonight to explain what's really going on. Plus, Sandy Hook families, they file a second lawsuit. This one seeks monetary damages after the town and the school system that they say failed their kids. Do they have a chance at winning their case? Our legal panel will weigh in on that and much, much more. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Thank you so much for joining us. And tonight we will begin in New York City, where the plot appears to be thickening between both the NYPD and Mayor de Blasio. No secret, they're still definitely not on the same page here, but there's more nuance, I suppose. The mayor and his team, they're mulling over ways to ease tensions between the cops and City Hall, and issuing an apology to the police doesn't seem, though, to be in the cards. Tuesday, the mayor said he would veto a city council bill that would make it illegal for police officers to use chokeholds, which are already banned by the police force. However, a report by the Civilian Complaint Review Board shows that police using chokeholds, are even more often before, and complaints up as well. Now, the PBA President Pat Lynch, he called the chokehold report anti-police bias. Lynch, who has been front and center, as you know, in demanding an apology from the mayor and even saying there was blood on the hands of the mayor after the death of those two officers. He talked about also comments he made about that de Blasio made about both how his wife and he have raised their son and how her son ought to basically relate to police if there were incidents. Police union meeting, though, recently, it gave a little context that maybe not everybody is on the same page. Apparently, this union meeting recently turned heated here, where Lynch, who said to have supposedly instructed officers to pull back on making arrests. Hundreds of cops walked out of the meeting. One officer reportedly shouted, "This is what my members want. They want more cars, they want better vests, they want more manpower. They don't want an apology," referencing, obviously, what Lynch has been demanding from the mayor. Another cop reportedly said, "I don't care about apology. I want to know what you're going to do to protect us." Police Commissioner Bill Bratton, he spoke to Charlie Rose about the rift here between both the mayor's office as well as also the police department. And he cited, among other things, the New York Times coverage of the issue that police had with the mayor's relationship with his wife's former chief of staff, Rachel Nordlinger.
The mayor's wife's chief of staff was a woman that the unions right from the beginning did not like because of the relationship she had, a boyfriend that she was living with.
Who had a felony conviction?
Felony conviction, and just it just began to poison the well.
Okay, let me bring in both Dominic and Andrew here, Dominic Carter and Andrew Whitman, of course. And guys, let's break this into pieces. Let's first talk about the PBA fight. And Dominic, we all know there's a contract going on here, and that was a big part of this backdrop before here. But take me into what's going on really behind the scenes here, because different people may be angling for leadership posts, but also there is an undercurrent that Lynch may not be speaking for, forget about all, but even a huge number of the rank and file. No debate that they're not fans of de Blasio, but maybe what they want is something different than what Lynch says they do.
Well, I'm glad you formed the question that way, Richard, because in any given union across the country, you have the leadership, and then you normally have within the union, a municipal union, in this case the PBA, you have dissidents. You have those that are seeking to move up and knock off the current president. Because let's face it, if you run the union, it's a good job. You still are a police officer, you get your union salary, there's enormous power, you bring your entire team along with you, you have your board and so on. So we know that Pat Lynch is up for re-election of the PBA in June. And I suggest Mr. Lynch might want to give Roger Toussaint a telephone call. You remember the name Roger Toussaint? We're looking at Lynch right now from when he spoke exclusively with us. But Roger Toussaint was just as powerful as Pat Lynch. Toussaint ran the TWU of the Transport Workers Union. Same exact situation. A group of dissidents that started out with their voices kind of moderate, and then they turn up the volume. And Toussaint did the walkout. Thank you for reminding me of that. He went toe-to-toe with the mayor. What happened to Roger Toussaint? It came re-election time. He lost. Pat Lynch better be very careful.
Well, we're starting to get a sense that the emperor isn't wearing any clothes, at least as far as Pat Lynch is concerned here. I mean, if there's fractionalizing going on within the NYPD, I think that's a sense that this is not a uniform view from every NYPD officer. You're also starting to get these bizarre things like the planes flying around the city with banners calling on de Blasio to resign, which begs the question, does the PBA have the kind of money to send up those airplanes, or is this possibly the people who were opposed to Bill de Blasio and feared that somehow police or crime would go up are organizing now because they sense a weakness on de Blasio's part? Everybody said crime's going to go up if you elect this guy. Crime's gone down. What happens now? Well, there's some rift that we can explore here and that we can try to exploit against Mayor de Blasio.
I think there's a real rift, but I think one of the things that I think Lynch has to figure out or explain is people want to know what happened in that closed-door meeting that the mayor had with the police union heads. Bratton was there as well, and they said, all right, Pat, tell us what went on. What's being discussed here? We got concerns. We want to hear about it. He says, I can't talk because anything I say to you guys, rank and file, is going to get out in the media. So,
which it will.
But at the same point, your union, you're supposed to represent your union leadership, the folks, and they got legitimate questions about this. So we're going to see how that plays out. But now let's segue to Bratton. I played one clip which talked about the Nordlinger appointment and how that certainly rankled the rank and file here, and also probably police leadership, in that both the background, attachment to Sharpton, and then also her boyfriend and some of the comments that he said. I want to play another clip. This is where Bratton also says to Charlie Rose that he believes the media blew things out of proportion after he sat at the same table with Sharpton and de Blasio to discuss police community relations following the Garnett incident. He also says, though, that this also drove cops crazy, the optics here, that the three of them were sitting equally at the same table.
The placement of the seating, the photograph, the very famous photograph that I'm on one side of the mayor, Mr. Sharpton's on the other.
What did that say to people, do you think?
Well, particularly to the cops, that they went crazy, as well as particularly the tabloids in New York. The idea of putting him on a seemingly equal footing with the police commissioner, well, it gave him a cause celeb. But even with the cops, particularly with the unions, which had begun to have their difficulties with the mayor, it gave them just another nail to drive into the coffin. And even for myself, it caused me no end of problems in the sense of friends, professional acquaintances. Geez, what's going on?
Okay. Now, let's say this. Now, let's give a little context, Dominic, because I know you're laughing.
Very careful.
But John Miller, okay, tell people who might remember him from different things, because he was a CBS guy, WCBS guy, went network as well. He left the media on not once but two occasions, even a 60 Minutes gig, to go follow Bratton out to L.A. When he was with the LAPD and now again with the NYPD. My point is, Bratton is a smart guy. He's media savvy. Miller's a media savvy guy as well. My point is those comments, even though they're addressing what the rank and file concerns might be, he doesn't say that and answer it unless he wants to.
Right. Well, Bill Bratton better be very, very careful. Number one, he's playing politics in that interview with Charlie Rose. Bill Bratton went up to Sharpton's headquarters and kissed his ring right about the same time he was named police commissioner. So to act like now, all of a sudden, that the mayor just threw all of this on him is not being totally honest. But here's my point, Richard. Bill Bratton been down this road before in terms of speaking out of turn and a mayor being forced to put him in his place. Rudy Giuliani did that and fired Bill Bratton. Bill Bratton was out on Long Island, then out in L.A., everywhere else. He better be real careful because de Blasio's on the defensive and Bratton is towing a very fine line right now.
Rudy had, he had more, let's say, solid footing at the moment than this current mayor does. I don't think this mayor, he's got the leverage here that he could say, hey, Bratton, go take a jump. He's
not
the
at
one.
This moment. Not at this
Do you
moment.
think Bratton didn't clear some of that that with de Blasio? Do you think that
it's clear he didn't clear that
you don't
last
think
comment
you don't
with
think there was any
de Blasio.
conversation between the two about like
No.
let's try to stem this and
No, knowing Bill Bratton
Really?
as good as I do, Bill Bratton is his own press machine. Bill Bratton loves the media more than he loves being police commissioner. Bill Bratton wants to be a Hollywood superstar. Plain and simple.
He also spoke in that same conversation about, remember that Times editorial which says it's time here that the mayor and the police leadership, if they got to boot commanders here, if the guys aren't making the normal arrests here, they're not making those citations that they're supposed to be doing, keeping up with their numbers, that they're going to be the ones that are going to be on the other side of this, and they should be pushed out. He said they're crazy. You can't go to war with the cops. He made it pretty definitive in there that you're not going to win that fight if you go against the police. I think in some ways that marginalized some of the options that the mayor has on the table if the police commissioner says you can't do that. We're getting there, and if you believe the numbers, they are. It's getting calmed down here. But to say that the mayor can't win a fight here with the police, that also to me is a little significant. I'm with Dominic where the mayor, he would never sign off for the sound bites that came out. Now, again, it should be couched that he was answering the question from Charlie Rose, why is there a disconnect between the police, or at least the unions, and the mayor? He didn't say it was from his perspective. But that last line in there that we just heard that, hey, you know what, I've had to answer a lot of professionals, meaning other police, saying, what's going on here? Why would the mayor do this?
But Richard, you don't get to be police commissioner of New York City unless you know how to tap dance around every single question that you're asked. Rule 101, when you are a commissioner of New York City, never do anything to embarrass the mayor or make the mayor look bad. The moment that you do that, the clock has started on when it's time for you to go.
Do you think you went that far, though?
I do. If I were Mayor de Blasio, I would be livid, and I would call Bratton up and have a sit down on what he said in that Charlie Rose
From the
interview.
mayor's standpoint, I mean, you can't publicly go to war with your police commissioner, and you really can't be seen going to war, if at all possible, with the NYPD. I mean, you need their backing, if only to show that you're in charge of the city. It doesn't look good politically for de Blasio.
And the commissioner did go after Lynch in that same conversation where he said that he's doing himself no favors here, and he also referenced that there is some rift even internally.
I know we're out of time, but the first thing the mayor can do is exactly what Rudy did to Bratton. Oh, you got negative things to say about me? Your media is shut down. That's why John Miller quit the NYPD the first time, because it came from City Hall and Christine Latagano. You cannot do a single media appearance unless the mayor, Mayor Giuliani, signs off
But
on it.
there's only so many fights that de Blasio can fight at the same time. I mean, if he's,
Yeah, but you cannot have your police commissioner going out saying whatever he wants to say, backdoor criticizing
Well, but
you.
when
You
you
can't
got everything
allow
going
that.
down with the NYPD in the back turner, you can't go to war with your police commissioner
But
either.
you
I
see
mean,
what
at some
Rudy
point, he's
did.
going to make
You see what
himself look
Rudy
incredibly
did.
weak.
Bratton did that Page One Time magazine article. Within a week, Rudy said he's done. We were in Israel at the time. Rudy told us on background. He said by the time I get back, he will no longer be police commissioner, and that's exactly what happened.
All right. From the city, we head to Westchester, where the county in national headlines and for a while over the issue of housing desegregation here, where some communities apparently are resisting a move to create more affordable housing. That after the group here, and we're going to be hearing from the Journal News reporter who's been following this story from the very beginning. We'll be right back. Stay with us.